camera and not my microphone here. Actually, let me see if I can just do it live. Not, What's up, Nia? King of the Midway, J Biggs, Laker Link. Give me a second, guys, so I can find this mic situation here. Yeah. Hold on. Why are you doing this? Check. Wait, why is that low? I don't understand. How's my audio now? Like, is it good? A little static. That has to be because it's coming through. Hold on. Settings, audio. Oh. Digital audio high definition device. Can you wait? What? Capture, chat box, overlay. Where's my audio? Check. White noise. What that means is not coming through where it's supposed to be, which is my microphone right here. So that annoys me. But that's what happens when you jump on all willy-nilly. Yeah, it's definitely coming from my camera juice, because I don't even see an, what do you call it? Where is the setting? Decent enough. I don't know, man. I don't really do decent enough. Wait, where is? No, that's not right. I think I know what it is. It's because I went through YouTube, or yeah, because something was up. So maybe if I this might cause a problem, but hang on. I bet it's because I'm going through YouTube instead of through Streamlabs. I think that's my problem. Give me 1 second. We'll get it started here. I mean, it's not like this thing is organized at all. So I just said, what the hell? Let me go live. I don't really have a set of topics or anything. Why am I not? Oh, because of the title. They limited my revenue because the title of my video. Poo poo poo. Boo hoo hoo. Ain't nothing wrong with bougie. What am I missing? At least we can hear you. Too excited to stream. You play Sekiro? No, I have not played Sekiro. ZMM. I'm sure I'll get around to it. It's just I got a lot of stuff to finish, so that's my issue. Y'all forgot T is bougie. Oh, okay, that's where that's where the bougie comes from. That's funny. All right. All right. Let me see. Where is? I'm just like, maybe it's because of film school. I'm like a stickler for this stuff, and it really annoys me when stuff doesn't go the way it's supposed to. Because here's the thing, in film school they teach you like, it's not. Yeah, you want high-end visuals and all that good stuff, but you can get by if you're a good visual storyteller. You can get by with not the best video output or video input or whatever. But if your audio is not good, then nobody's gonna sit there and listen to you. Like, you can have a bad video visual wise, like you may not have the best camera, that kind of stuff, and people will roll with you. But if your audio is bad, nobody wants to sit there and listen to bad audio, So I guess that kind of stuck with me. Queens, New York, big up. Jamaica, Queens in the house. Let's see. Exactly, bougie. Sweden in the house. Sweden. All right. Where? All right. So you guys hang on there. All right. Just hang in. This may cause a problem, but I gotta have good audio. I just have to. So. Wait, I don't even see my stream thingy. This is bothering me so much. Actually, I'm in Far Rockaway. True. Far Walk. I can't talk right now because one of the reasons I wasn't gonna get on, I was actually gonna plan like what the stream was gonna be about. But when I got home, well, not when I got home. Basically, since yesterday, like I have some swelling, like under my tooth here, my gum. So it's like you see me talking funny, or if I sound funny, or by my mouth movement is weird. That's why. So I wasn't gonna even do a stream. I decided that I wasn't gonna do it, but then I kind of took a nap after taking some leave, and I woke up and I was like, I want to stream. So that's why I jumped on here, and I didn't usually go through what I usually go through, setting it up better. And I think I figured out my problem from last week. Why the stream dropped is that I was splitting my my Ethernet cable. I was using a splitter so I could run in part of it to my Switch and then part of it to the PC. But unless you power I don't know what I was thinking when I did that. If you don't have power running to that splitter, I know that because I do that with video, and I know you need that power. But I just wasn't thinking, I guess, at the time. If you don't have Juice reminded me, thanks Terminator Juice. If you don't have power running to that splitter, then you're gonna have issues with the connection. So that's what was wonking up everything. So I had bad internet connection when I shouldn't have, because I checked the ping and all that, and had a bad connection with and using Streamlabs. Streamlabs was all confused as to why it wasn't working right. So that's what threw everything off. So I was blaming my PC when the PC wasn't the fault. It was me. See. What I mean was, The Rise of Skywalker made me feel like a stormtrooper thrown into a garbage chute. Oh man, I'm not even. I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna go watch it tomorrow because my son surprised me. He said, "Are we gonna go see it?" And I was like, "Well, I guess he wants to see it." So, because I wasn't going to, but I mean, I have to, as a Star Wars fanatic. I mean, you don't have to see it just because you're a fan. You don't support something just because you're a fan, but curiosity on how bad or good it was, because I like the fact that Last Jedi lovers don't really hate it, and so I'm like, well, I hated the Last Jedi. Maybe I'll end up liking this. And it's polarizing. I'm sure it's polarizing. No surprise, because it should have been. This is half of the movie, from what I hear. Half of the movie, what we're getting in Rise of Skywalker, should have been what happened in Last Jedi. But there was no character development at all in Last Jedi, and I don't know why people who love that movie don't understand that. And they swear that something. Rian Johnson was doing something different at least. What did he do different? Besides piss off fans. Well, that's not different because George Lucas did that. But what did he do different? All he did was say, gotcha. You thought this was going to happen? Gotcha. You thought that was going to happen? Gotcha. Okay, it's fine to do that, give the gotchas, but you got to have something after the gotcha. You got to have something of substance. You can't just say gotcha and not have anything there. So, fine if you want to have a gotcha movie, but you got to have something after it. So, on T's audio comment, become a specialist, make that THX or ILM money. I don't. If I do, specialize in anything, it won't be audio because I don't have the patience. But I know people who do. I don't really have the patience for the highest video quality. I'm a storyteller. Like, I just want to tell good stories and write good stories. So, and I let the specialists come in and do what they do. I mean, obviously on a independent level, I have to do everything, but I don't have the temperament for lighting or I mean, audio. Like I said, audio is important, so I pay more attention to that. But all right, this whole sequel trilogy is dead to me. Well, I mean, it died in The Last Jedi. And not that Force Awakens was that great, but it was competent, at least. It annoyed the crap out of me with, we got a bigger Death Star. Like, I mean, I have a movie channel, and I really am going to, because now I have a little bit more time especially, I'm going to upload my thoughts. I'm going to kick off that channel. So if you are not subscribed to Mizzah Tee ATM, do that. It's my name, and then it's separate. You can probably look it up. I don't know if I have it in my links or not in the description or anything. I can't remember if I did that, but this weekend I'm definitely, especially after watching the movie, that'll be my first upload. My thoughts on the trilogy, not just the Rise of Skywalker, but the trilogy as a whole, the state of Star Wars as a whole. So look forward to that. Hopefully Sunday. Hopefully it'll be up Sunday, because it'll be mostly an impressions video, so it won't be a lot of editing or anything. But all right, I can't figure this out. Well, I can figure it out, but I don't want to mess with my stream. And if my audio isn't too bad and you guys are fine with it, then I will just keep rolling. So just give me a vote in the chat. J Biggs, I will subscribe. Thank you, my man. Thank you. And it will be a full-on, movie channel. I'm gonna review old stuff, and that will be more like more professional edited type of stuff. Not too crazy from what you've seen in other movie review channels. And I'm gonna go back. I want to review movies that are that people like and remember, but nobody really reviews now. I want to review more genre stuff, and I'll also do like new movies that I go see. I mean, I don't see a ton of movies in a year. I probably see 5 to 7 maybe. But if there's something big coming out, I'll go check it out. But I have a lot of what do you call? I can't think straight, probably because of the medication. I'm a little loopy. I have a lot of opinions on, like, you know, 80s and 90s genre movies, especially um, cult classics. Um, you know, stuff that doesn't get a whole lot of shine or a lot of review stuff. You know, in the YouTube realm anyway. Jojo Rabbit was okay. Um, what's the name again? I forgot. Here, I'll put it in the chat. Hopefully, you can find it just by the name. Now, there may or may not be a exclamation point after the M in ATM. And ATM stands for at the movies. Um, so if you're looking to subscribe, I've been telling people forever. I already have, like, I don't know if you guys have seen, what is it called? Black Summer. I think they got renewed for a second season. I don't know why. But I'm gonna destroy that TV series on Netflix. It's a zombie show. I want to say there's 8 or 9 episodes, and I think it's. I wrote a comical script for my review for it. So, and on Mizzah Tee ATM, I will be reincorporating the Mizzah Tee puppet. So, you know. Like he will be like the host of that show, and then when you get to the review part, it'll be me talking over like clips of the whatever I'm reviewing. So thanks, Jay. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm hoping that this channel takes off where my game channel didn't, and then maybe I can retroactively bring my gaming channel up to where I thought it was going to be, the trajectory I felt like it was on. I'm not looking for like 1 million subscribers, but I was feeling like, I could at least hit 50K, and it was looking like that, like even a couple of years ago, that, with the movement I was hitting, that by now I would be somewhere between 30 and 50. But I don't know, YouTube, just kind of did their policy thing and everything stopped. And it took me a while to figure that out, because I was like, what am I doing wrong? But I was watching the numbers, and I'm like, this is like stuff that's not in my control. I'm gonna sneeze. Yeah, that was a sneeze. I was looking at my numbers, and my subscriber count just completely flatlined, and that was weird to happen. Because I would get at least, if, I would have days where I got like 20 subscribers, but I would at least get 2 or 3 subscribers a day. So, yeah, and Copa, or however they pronounce that acronym, that's not going to help things. Thank you, Mo. YouTube hasn't been about creators for a good minute. Yeah, I mean, that's just it, Nia. As most people know, if you look at what they've been doing, they've been bigging up the celebrity channels and the corporate channels, and obviously YouTube TV. That's what they care mostly about, and the people that got them here, the everyday creators like you and me, that made YouTube big, they just don't care. If you weren't already big by the time they, started this, these policies, then screw you. I mean, basically. So, I guess, yeah, maybe I'll just talk about that. So my channel, because I did talk about it at the end of my stream last week, I'm going to be taking down a lot of my videos, especially ones that have to deal with me using the Mizzah Tee action figure or action figures in general, because especially if that stuff is considered, I mean, I don't know if you know about Kappa or Copa, and I'm not I don't really feel like going into it if you don't know, so please look it up. There's way better videos that can describe it to you. So basically, if you have anything that has childlike elements in your video, like even this, I didn't even think about it, even the blanket, or even Sonic over here in the corner, they could consider, you know, signaling to children. So if I have that and then I also start cursing in the video, then that's a problem, and I can get sued. So I mean, that's just a quick explanation for what it is. But so I'm just gonna take down what I can. I mean, I could still end up getting sued for something stupid. But for me, I'm not worried about it, because one of the big things in film school was entertainment law. So we went over a lot of that stuff to ad nauseum, because that stuff's very important. And this this version anyway of COPPA is there's no way it can stand up in a court of law. It's way too vague. But you can still end up getting sued. So that's what people is mostly worried about. Not that if it will hold up, because I don't believe it will, and I think a lot of YouTubers do think it will hold up. But there's no way. If you look at what they're doing, what the law says, there's no way that, because grown individuals and children also sometimes share the same likes and dislikes. Like, I still like cartoons. Does that mean I can't talk about cartoons because children also like them? I mean, that's what I'm saying. So if you take a lawyer into court with that, they would completely dismantle this. But most people can't take a lawyer into court. They don't want to deal with being sued. So that's the problem. Truth or not, I feel like his work ethic is amazing and production quality is great, but gaining subscribers even with all the production work wasn't a direct improvement. Who are you talking about? Me? Yeah, I mean that you can have the greatest. I've seen dudes that are better than me, like visual wise and like I don't know about editing. Well, if I really like if I wasn't in my peak editing, I don't think there's not a lot of people on this channel that could touch me. Maybe I'm just pulling my own leg here, but I've seen people that with some really nice production value, got everything you're supposed to have, and they still have no movement. So Kappa, yeah, maybe I'll just call it Kappa though, because it does sound like cops. Antonio, what's up? Welcome, by the way. Yeah, welcome everybody. If I didn't already say hi to you, I think I did most of you guys. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I'm just gonna, delete. And like I said, I was gonna move most of those videos, the ones that I feel that are kind of timeless. I'm gonna move them over to Twitch, at least for now. And I promise I will start doing a whole lot more on Twitch, because I like to. I want to do my, my comedic type of videos, my, action figure jokey videos, without having to think about it. Antonio Barbosa, hi T, I've been a fan of your work a long time. I know, man. I remember a lot of names, and you were definitely one of the earlier names that I would see in my comment section. So I appreciate that. And I've seen how it works myself. Like from me being a subscriber of other people, that I would just miss their content if I wasn't regularly watching their channel. And unless you're like in my circle of people that I know and I talk to all the time, I'm not regularly watching a channel. If I happen to catch you on my feed, then I'll watch your content. For those who I'm not like regularly, like the Juice Crew or like Nia and what's the crew again? Team Red and all that stuff. Like if you're not in that circle of thought for me as far as video games and all that stuff goes, I wasn't regularly clicking on your video. But if you don't do that today, their videos will just stop showing up in your feed. and it'll get buried under what is it called? Your recommended feed, because that's what they care about now, recommending you stuff. I get recommended videos from like 7 years ago just because they were popular, and it's just like, I don't want to watch this crap. And the minute you click a recommended video, it's almost like you subscribed. It is like you subscribe to that channel, because they will pump that video, they'll pump that person's videos to you without being subscribed, and that's messed up, man. And that's why people can't get views anymore. That's why people can't get traction. So, let's see what you guys are saying. Kappa, I said that already. Kappa is stupid, and I don't think it will last. Yeah, Kappa's been around, and it is it is laws that we need. It's important. It stands for Children Online Protection, something like that. So we definitely need it. It's just that this version of it, this memo basically that they stapled onto it, this is not going to hold up. So, let's see. Quan Manchu, Zen Gamer, I miss that cat. It's those yeah, man, I miss YouTubers like that. And the bad thing about it is that we don't get YouTubers like that anymore because of the way it is. So most people are trying to chase the trend to get views, which I understand, because they're trying to get visible, so they don't give you that old home, like that you can kick back with a beer and listen to or watch type of videos. It's more like clinical. A lot of people try to do what they think is going to get them views. They try to emulate those channels, and so the authenticity is gone. So yeah, I mean, there are channels that still have authenticity, but they're not getting traction either. I'm subscribed to them, and I mean they have their nice strong core, that like to listen to arguments. Basically they like listening to what do you call it, console war argument stuff, podcasts. But outside of that, I would be content with that. I would want to grow, and I don't want to be kind of caught in a little bubble somewhere, bottle, to where I'm only serving, because I mean, what's the point of doing this? Yeah, it's a hobby, but I like to talk, and I like to interact with people, as many as I can, So if I'm not doing that, it demotivates you, So I lost a lot of motivation. I've been trying to find thousands of ways. You guys have seen me come on here with my therapy session videos, trying to find ways to keep myself motivated, because I don't want to stop doing this. Because for one, it keeps me on my toes when I'm doing just like boring for work. When I'm doing boring kind of paint by numbers video editing for companies, and it's just fun. Like, YouTube gave me that chance to do all the quirky, weird stuff I wanted to do as a kid, like puppet shows and all that kind of stuff. YouTube gives me that, and I want people to be excited about that, because I used to be like really shy. Like, I used to be a really shy dude, and I had my little nerdy notebooks, and it wasn't until 7th, 8th grade that I kind of broke out of that. I probably talked about this before, but we had this program at my school, my middle school, called ACT, which stood for Advanced Creative Thinkers. And so teachers would decide which students they thought were qualified for that class. And so if you guys have seen Stranger Things, I think mostly, especially what they did in season 3, I was the black kid. That was me. Like, we had our little Dungeons and Dragons pen and paper group, and that's the kind of stuff that started to bring me on my shell. That class, I started, I was always a writer, but I would never show anybody my stuff. And then I had a teacher in 8th grade, Miss Barley, love you forever. she would show, or she would read my stories, my comedy little. I had this one series called Ram Bam. You guys have seen some of my interpretations of that with the Rambo action figure and the kind of comedy stuff that I used to do forever ago. But I used to write these stories. Like it was like it was a parody because I like parody. Obviously, Mizzah Tee. So it was a parody um, of Rambo, and it was just like me writing these comical stories about this crazy action figure guy, and it would have classes cracking up. And so I would have people stop me in the hallway in middle school. My shy little self, afraid to even talk to anybody, um, stop me and say, "Oh man, Miss Barley read us your Rambo story. It was hilarious. When are you gonna write the next one?" And I'm about to cry. I teared up. Having somebody acknowledge that, like acknowledge your creativity was dope, And for somebody like I said that was really shy like me, it really helped me, because it was hard for me as a kid because with my dad's job we moved a lot, and so I would have to like make friends and lose friends and make friends and lose friends, and it was tough, and to be able to have that outlet was great. And so, I don't need it as much anymore. Like I said, I've progressed, and I've, gotten way more. By the time I was in high school, I was, pretty adjusted. But I was, um, happy to have YouTube because it allowed me to outlet that quirky stuff that I like to do. So it's sad. It's personal for me. It's not just about revenue and all this stuff. Because I really only what do you call it, monetize my videos, because if I didn't do that, I would get 10 views. Like, because if you're not monetized and YouTube's not making money off of you, your videos are not going to be seen at all. So what little views I do get is partially because I monetize them. And I know big channels. I know of one guy who does movie stuff, and he doesn't monetize them because he puts it like he doesn't want to deal with the copyright content claims and all that stuff. So he doesn't monetize his videos, and his stuff is great. And he would get way more. I feel like he would get way more views if he monetizes videos, but he doesn't want to deal with that. He wants to be creative, and I respect that. I respect that a lot. Not everybody can do that. If you're gonna do this, where you're putting in 6 hours a day, it's a job. So I don't begrudge anybody making a job out of this. But if it's only about that, I have a problem with you, because is that why you started it from the beginning? If that's your motivation, then that's just too bad. I guess I'm being judgmental there, but that's just how I feel as a artist. If it's only about what you're making, monetarily, then you've already failed as far as I'm concerned. So, all right. So, Maurice Charles, you think Disney may be poised to monopolize digital streaming content for younger audiences? They seem to be the only ones who can afford to finesse or afford the fines in streaming service in PG-13. Yeah, that's very possible. Outside of nobody serves kids the way Disney does, and they have a lot of content to do so. So I feel like they've already monopolized as far as that goes. It's great as a parent, especially to know, hey, you kids, you can watch this, and it's all good for them. Like that's comforting. So yeah, I think they're gonna run the show if they aren't already running it. YouTube is turning into WeTube. They're creating mediocre generic channels that all look alike and are easy to put ads on. Right. That's the sad part. and I didn't want to do that. Like I started to do that like 2017. If you watch some of my pre-Switch videos or early Switch videos, they were really polished. Like my I was really conscious of like my speaking patterns, and I was writing scripts, which is, I mean, yeah, I want to write scripts. That's, I mean, I want my at least my edited videos, my, you know, more main videos to be like that. But I'm talking about like just sounding like a commercial almost. Some of these channels sounding like a however long their video is, long commercial, and don't want to go. Never. I don't want to do that. It's funny what you said about Stranger Things because my group of friends was the same, a multiracial group in the '80s. Yep. Was it the '80s for me? Yeah, had to be right. It was a 20. On the cusp. It was like right at the edge of the '80s, early '90s. So yeah, um, yeah, multiracial, just bunch of nerds, comic book nerds. I was always like arguing with them about DC and Marvel, and they would argue with me about Marvel. I mean, I read both, but I was and still am clearly a DC guy, and so we'd have our little debates. It's hilarious to think about now. Uh, let's see. There needs to be a creative video platform where originality is more important than selling ad space, but I fear the cycle of abuse. Yeah, like I feel like it's right though. Like there's a lot of malcontent YouTubers. If someone would come up right now and make sure you got your laws in order, make sure because that's what YouTube didn't do. They didn't protect themselves to where they didn't have to deal with a lot of stuff that's catching up to them now. So make sure you have all that in order. Some smart Silicon Valley dudes with some server space can say, hey, we don't need to be bigger than YouTube, at least not right now. But what we can do is serve an audience of disgruntled YouTubers who don't like what's going on with YouTube. I have a really good name. I don't want to even say it because maybe I'll do this venture to compete with YouTube. And it's a really good name. I think it'll be really catchy. So I'm gonna hold on to it for now. But Antonio, I have posted on Vimeo, but that was more when I was in school, and it was more of like projects for a class, or stuff that I was doing professionally. I haven't been to Vimeo. I've been there in the last few months, but I'm not consistently there. And Vimeo, to me, is more of a professional type of platform. It's not as social media as YouTube is, and that's the problem. YouTube is very social media. It's very, you interacting with audiences, and Vimeo is not that. It has elements of that, but it's not quite there. If they would push to say, we want to grab those YouTubers, that would be a smart move, Vimeo. And Vimeo's video quality has always been way better than YouTube's. That's why I used to have teachers that would tell me back in the day, instructors, like, why are you wasting your time putting stuff on YouTube? Their encrypting is just terrible, and your video quality goes way down. Put your stuff on Vimeo. So that's why I used to pay attention to Vimeo, and because there's a lot of really good like professional short films and all that kind of stuff. And I need to get back to Vimeo quality is amazing. I need to get back to that stuff. So, but yeah, let's get into games. This is a gaming channel, right? Like this kind of stuff, I will talk more about on my Mizzah Tee ATM, my movie channel. So if you're more interested in that stuff as well, like me just talking about movies that I'm working on, or companies I'm working for, I'm doing freelance stuff for, or that's all movie related to me. So I'll talk about that and the process and all that stuff too in separate videos. So yeah, since the beginning, Vimeo's been it's been a more prosumer type of video website. So, but if they wanted to like break off and do more like social media type, quick video stuff that YouTube started off doing, then I'd be there in a minute, a second. Yeah, games of the decade. Now, that's funny, Maurice, because that was gonna be my topic. Like I was gonna come home and make a list, which I didn't do. So I almost don't even want to do that. I mean, we can talk about some games, but I wanted to have like a list that I could go through because I don't remember exact years and all that stuff, and I wanted to have that in front of me so I'd be able to really go over that stuff. So, and I also wanted to talk about, but I'll probably do that in a separate video. Talk about like my favorite indie games on Switch, physical, that you can get physical copies of. I saw my boys in the Hangout chat talking about some because of the sale that's on Switch right now. There's a sale going on for Switch on the eShop, and I'm like, some of those games are physical. If you care to get, you can get them physically. Obviously, they're going to be more expensive. I believe I forgot. Somebody was talking about Blazing Chrome. Is it Blazing Chrome? That's on sale, and some other stuff. Axiom Verge, and I'm like, you can get those physical. Well, Blazing Chrome just maybe a few weeks ago went up on limited run for purchase, and I think it was $30. I think the game was $20 when it first came out. I don't know what it is now. Oh, well, it's on sale now, but I don't know what the regular retail price is. But like I want a physical copy of those games, so I'll sit back and make a list that I can come back to in a few months and see if there's physical copies of. And I'm surprised that some of the games, because I don't catch everything that gets a physical copy. So I'm surprised that some of the games that do actually have physical copies. So that's why I wait. But at the tops of my list, I just got a Dragon Mark for Death. I just got that on Amazon. It was only $20, so it wasn't like it was a crazy price. So yeah, and yeah, I wanted to have a list for that. So maybe I'll just do for the indie thing, especially. I'll just do a side thing. But for the games of the decade, I will be doing that, and it'll either be Sunday or Monday. I'll do a live stream like I'm doing now. I'll have my list in front of me, like I had planned on doing. I was planning to do this, but my tooth was hurting so bad, and I just don't feel it right now because of because of the LiVE. It's alleviating the pain. So, but if you guys have some ideas for either one, games of the decade, I mean, we can talk about a few that I know. One actually has it's not based on the game, but it's based on the books produced the game, and that's The Witcher, the Witcher series. And a lot of people didn't even know Witcher existed before Witcher 3. So, I mean, Witcher 2 was close to where, where basically where Witcher 3 evolved to, but the shows came out today, so I'm very excited about that. I heard nothing but good things about the show, so I'm happy. I was a little bit worried. I didn't think the trailers were that great for The Witcher on Netflix, so I'm glad that reliable sources have said that it's a good show. It's a really good show, and they've already renewed it for a second season, so that's great. They're very confident. They were very confident, even without they renewed it like a week ago probably, before people hadn't even seen it. other than reviewers. So yeah, The Witcher would be there. Witcher 3 would be there. I mean, if you just want to go from the Nintendo side, I mean, I would have to count both Donkey Kongs from Retro, being Tropical Freeze and Returns. Those are both some of the best platformers you'll ever play. It's going to be hard to top those going forward. So, 2D platformers anyway. Um, I mean, a lot of my favorite games of the decade came out on Switch. I don't want to say a lot, but obviously Breath of the Wild was a game-changing type of game. It's certainly going to be on that list. And I want to talk more about these things. I'm just going to throw these out now. But for the live stream, I'll have backstory and things I want to talk about as far as each one of these games go. I mean, there's just a lot. I mean, Wind Waker HD, says Mojo. See, I'm not going to count HD remasters because that's not fair to me. Like, that game, whatever game it was what it was when it came out. Yeah, maybe it didn't have the best frame rate or the best video quality, but people still looked at it as that. It's like oh my gosh, Resident Evil 4. Like, I'm not gonna count the HD version of it when Resident Evil 4 was what it was in 2000. When it come out, 2004, 2005. See, this is what I'm talking about. I don't want to do this when I don't remember the year and all that stuff and feel confident about that. But yeah, it's those games were what they were when they came out. They were great then, so it's hard to say, oh, the HD version of it is better. I mean, it is technically it's better, but as far as impact in the industry at the time, The Last of Us. See, I'm not gonna dog The Last of Us because clearly a lot of people like The Last of Us. It just didn't work for me. Like, but I can recognize that it's a good game that people like. I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not gonna call it, some Kojima garbage. No, I'm just playing. But no, I can even game series that I don't play. I think if you're an objective person, you should be able to recognize, a great game, a good game, a really good game, or whatever, even without having played it. So, Yujiro Hanma, what's up? I messed your name up. Yeah, so Mario Odyssey is just that game did some great things to me, made me feel great. So, oh, I said it right. Okay, good. Yeah, on the Nintendo side, like I said, it's easy, but because they're in my head, because I'm a Nintendo fanboy, so I remember those games quicker. But I mean, there was stuff on. You have to throw Uncharted 4 in there because it's a lot of people's favorite Uncharted, and again, time. Uncharted 2 is my favorite because of the time that I played it and what was going on in gaming around it. But I can understand people's favorite being Uncharted 4 because it is pretty close to a masterpiece. I had a problem with how it ended. I thought it was a little bit anticlimactic with how it ended, but because I liked the quote-unquote boss fight in 2 more because it felt like, you were using your skills up until that point to battle the end guy. And you didn't really do that. It felt a little quick-timey for Uncharted 4. So that kind of brought my score down for the game. But, I can get why it's people's favorite. So I would throw that in as, games of the decade for sure. And for me, I don't know which one I'd pick. Maybe Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but I don't know. I don't really know because I really liked every one when I played them at the time. So I have to decide which Tomb Raider, revitalized Tomb Raider series game I'd put in there. Um, I don't know. I don't know right offhand. So that's why I'm saying I'd rather have that list in front of me. And then, uh, a lot of times, maybe not a lot, maybe not anymore, because a lot of people seem to be on. Uh, they seem to be on indie games a lot more these days. So maybe not so much, but there's some indie games I'd like to throw in there too. That would be part of both videos. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna put that together. I mean, I have. I'm lazy. I don't know if I'm lazy or just demotivated. I have videos that are ready to go that are, you know, that would take me an hour or so to edit. But because of this whole looming YouTube thing, I don't take the initiative to put them out, or put them together. So, uh, Maurice Charles Persona 5. See, I haven't played Persona 5. Um, um, I hear both sides of that game as far as what people feel about it. Um, and I feel like Terrell is a really good, um, a reliable source when it comes to that type of game. And for him to be, he had to be 100% on it for me to feel comfortable about it. But then again, you know, Last of Us was confidently told to me to that it was a great game to play, and I'm not maybe I joke with Juice about it, but I don't he there's no blame. He clearly liked the game a lot, and I value his opinion, so I bought it, and I'm gonna give it another chance, because the story didn't hook me, and I think the story hooked a lot of people, and that's why I didn't get into it as much. But uh, so I'm just gonna give it another chance and see what happens. Because I'm currently not playing anything. Well, that's not true. I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn, but other than that, I'm not playing anything on my PS5. So PS5. You said P5, and that got me thinking about PS5, Maurice. My PS4. I'm not currently playing anything outside of Horizon on it because I started playing Lost Legacy, and that game hooked me. I just played right through it, and that happens to me with Uncharted games a lot. I actually beat Uncharted 3 in one sitting, and I don't think it was because I was having such a great time. Because it's not. It's my, it's probably my third favorite Uncharted game. Um, but it flowed so well that I kept playing it. But not only does Lost Legacy flow well, it also, you know, improves gameplay mechanics. So that also kept me playing it. And there's I think about the third main area. There's like an open, like just open area, like open world area, and it's fairly large. And there's things you have to track down in it. And I wish, because if you get certain things on your map, on your map, it'll display where these things are that you have to find, and that's not enough to find them, just to know what in the area where it is. But it's a huge part of finding them, and I wish they didn't do that. I wish they thought about it more. But it is like, it's basically I want to say it's DLC because it feels like a full game. So I don't want to call it DLC because I think initially that's what it was supposed to be, and they ended up putting it out as a full game, to Uncharted 4 instead of just DLC to Uncharted 4, and I think it warrants that. It is a full game, but it wasn't even a full price game. I think it's retailed at 40 when it first came out, so that was great. But I would have paid 60 for it. I would have paid full price because to me it felt like a full price worthwhile game. So um, now would I put it in games of the decade? Maybe. If I sat down and thought about it and I looked at my list and said this game is better to me than this game, and I think I'm going to narrow it down to maybe like I mean, it maybe end up being less than this, but 20 from 2010 to now. Um, I'll narrow it to that, and because I want to make sure I get a good helping of third-party games. And some of these are gonna be like, oh, really, game of the decade, but it's how a game affects you personally, right? It's not about what the industry thought about this game. And so if I went in, if I that was my motivation is to make a video, talking about what was the most impactful games according to the industry of video games, then that would be what's the point of that? There's 1,000 videos that are going to be on YouTube this week talking about that. I want to talk about my games of the decade. And some of those will overlap. Some of those will be industry games. I think Witcher 3 is going to be on a lot of people's lists. Even with its flaws, the thing that game gets right just kind of shadows that, and it makes it good. And CD Projekt Red as a company, I don't remember, and I could be wrong. I'm sure there's other companies, but I don't remember too many companies that were thanking the fans for their purchase. I mean, outside of indie companies, and CD Projekt Red isn't really an indie company. Like it, I mean, they're independent, but I don't, consider them like a small indie company. That thank the fans for their purchase, and made it feel like you were buying something, especially for collector heads like me, who like little trinkets in their box. It's very cool. Like I had no problem going out and rebuying that game on Switch. Obviously I want to support games like that on Switch. But I have a better visually version of that game already, and I paid full price for it. But companies that do that kind of stuff, I support them. I support them that way, because they value my money, and I have to value their game, their effort with my money. So yeah, so I definitely want to point out. There's one that's sticking out to me right now. I don't want to say it, but it really moved me, like mentally. And I recommended it to somebody. I don't know if she's still here or not. To Nia, she'll know what I'm talking about. And I hope, but you never know with a recommendation if somebody gonna take to the game the way you did. And that's what Juice, like what Juice did with The Last of Us. I don't know if he's gonna take to it. Now, there's one game that I don't think, maybe it did come out in 2010. So that's another thing. There's games that are like right on the cusp that I'm not sure if they were 2010. It could be 2009 games that I end up throwing in this list because I don't have, like I said, actually I'm going to look it up right now. I am on the computer. So let me look this game up. And if it is in that time frame, then I will let you know about it. Okay, good. Because I thought it was, and this game is in that time frame of 2010 to now, and it fits. It kind of checks a lot of my boxes. About maybe not being an industry known game, but being a fantastic game nonetheless that maybe people just missed for whatever reasons. And that game is called Enslaved: Odyssey to the West. I think is it Bandai Namco? Let me look. Published by Bandai Namco. Who was the developer? I want to say it was like Insomniac or something. Let me look. Let's see. Publishers Bandai Namco. Director Ninja Theory. Oh yeah, that makes sense. It's a Ninja Theory game. You can pick this up for pennies on your Xbox 360. Please get that version and not the PS4 or PS3 version. because that version stinks. It doesn't run the best. Um, it's okay, but if you want the best, the most enjoyable experience, I should say, playing the game, and it's such a good game. Like like I get physically upset when games like this don't do well. Like it bothers me because we end up not getting games like this regularly, and hopefully now that Microsoft has acquired those guys, they will look back and bring us Enslaved 2 because the game ends in such a way that you want more, and there is more. You feel like there's more, um, and it's so good. I mean, it's a what do you call it? Escort mission game, and a lot of people just left right there. But it's not really escort mission because your escort person is invaluable to the gameplay. Like you work together and you work together really well. And she's a character. See, I can't even think of her name. That is interesting and is not annoying and is competent and something happens to her and you get the feels for her and I think your character is called Monkey because you're kind of like you're like an ape. And oh yeah, the all the motion capture was done by what's his name? Who does all the motion capture stuff? Planet of the Apes and Golem and what is his name? Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis did the motion capture for him. I think he did the voice too, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that part. But he did the mocap stuff. And they cared about these things. And you could see it. Like, he's a full-blown character that you play as him. And you root for him. And you want to know his backstory. And you get some of it. And that's another thing they can get out there with more is that. Is to talk about his backstory and explore that more and explore more of the world. It's an interesting world with interesting characters, kind of over the top stuff. Did he do the voice, Maurice? Because I think he did. I wasn't sure about it. Yeah, he encapsulated like, and that's a video game that would have been a really cool like cyberpunk. Or not cyberpunk, but yeah, I guess kind of cyber steampunk kind of science fiction movie. Like that would have made a good movie as well. I thought. Obviously, you had to flesh it out a little bit more, add more characters and all that kind of stuff. But I love the art design, the visuals, everything was great in that game, and it's just one of those games that comes along every year and a half, 2 years that everybody knows or a lot of people know about, a lot more people don't know about, but the game is fantastic to play. And it's just, I love that game. I love it. Like, it's one of my favorite games ever. Not only just this past decade, but it's one of those games that just sticks with you because of the story and the characters. And the gameplay, like it's really smart gameplay mechanics and progression. And I love that game. So yeah, if you don't have that game, you got a 360 or even a PS3. I mean, if you don't have any other option, obviously you get that version. It's not a terrible version or anything. Go get it. You can get a used copy for like $5 probably. Complete, with the case and manual and everything. So to me, that's so sad. Like, I'm sure you can find it on one of the stores as well. You can download it onto your current system, Xbox One or PS4, or I know it's on Steam for sure. So there's options to get it, and you can probably find it even cheaper on Steam, of course. But yeah, it's games like that, and then there's games I'm not gonna put in the list that if you feel like if somebody else had touched it, there's a game called Remember Me, and I think Capcom published it, and it had a similar catch you, pull you in kind of story. But man, the gameplay. I'm only playing through it because of the story. And it's not like bad gameplay. It's just kind of really bland. Like, and I'm thinking like, man, if a studio like I mean, it's the easy go to Platinum, because it is a Platinum kind of combat setup. If Platinum would have just came in and helped them do the combat system, this game would have been an instant classic. Because visually, it's there. It's a gorgeous game for its time, and like the story is great, the setting is great. Your lead character that you play, she's great, and it's just like, oh, if they only had fixed this one thing, the major thing, the gameplay. And again, you can still play it. It's not bad. It's just that it wants to be more than what it is, and that's unfortunate. So, R.A.B. Anderson, do you look forward to play Metroid Prime 4? Of course I do. And a part of me really wants this game to be out next year, and there's probably no chance of that. And I think I said this in Juice's Loose podcast, that I don't want it to miss that window of all eyes are on Switch right now. And if everything worked out, I believe I had predicted that the game would have been out this holiday. If not this holiday, like Q1 next year, 2020, would have came out like say March or April, and it would have had no competition on Switch. And Switch is selling crazy right now. Everybody's playing Switch. Everybody loves Switch. And that's when you want to put out a game that, like Metroid Prime, a series that traditionally isn't the greatest seller. It sells okay. It sells good, really good at sometimes. But it doesn't sell up to par on what it should. And you want to put that game out when your system is just hot. And right now the Switch is just hot. And I don't want that game to come out the last year of Switch. Where it will get buried again. I want it to be like now, within this next year, as the best time. If it could come out in September of next year, which is probably not going to happen, that would be great. I mean, I made a video talking about what I want for Switch in 2020. I want more legacy stuff. Obviously, we got Metroid, or we got Mario and Zelda, and my guess is that we're gonna get Zelda again next year, and maybe even hints of Mario Odyssey 2 for 2021 or something. That would be fantastic. But I want more of the more story stuff, because now is the time for that stuff to come out while the Switch is really hot. Like, come out with your games that your franchises don't sell as well. Come out with your Star Fox. Come out with your F-Zero. Come out with your Wave Race in this window. This is the time to do it. This is the time. If fans are really clamoring for it, and if you could do that within the next year, come out with your Mario sports games. Like, give people that that really hardcore Nintendo fan GameCube feeling again. Like, there was some fantastic series on the GameCube, Mario Sports series and stuff like that. Chibi Robo, drop a Chibi Robo, a 3D platformer Chibi Robo. Go back to the GameCube style version, because that zip trash, that Chibi Robo zip lash is not it. That ain't it, Chief. But that's the kind of stuff that you should be bringing out. I alluded to that. This is the window right now in a Nintendo console where you would see that kind of stuff. A Wario World. Was that what it's called on GameCube? Wario World, where it was kind of a pseudo 3D side-scrolling platformer with Wario. WarioWare. Where is WarioWare? On the Switch, WarioWare would be. You would come up with 1,000 ideas for that game. Like, where is Trauma Center? You know, I mean, that's not a long-standing franchise, but it's a really well-selling franchise. Uh, they're coming out with Brain Age, I believe, next year. A new Brain Age game. That's cool. You know, well, you don't have to retread, but where's your Nintendogs-like game? You know, that's the kind of stuff you should be working on for the third year of your platform, or the third year going into your fourth year. Yeah, Antonio, where is Wario? Outside of being in Smash and I guess Mario Party, where is he? You know, this is the year to bring, because like I said, everybody is really on Switch right now, and so you can elevate those games, you can elevate those series. Atlas are weirdos. As Maurice OJ said that. I mean, they are. But you know, this is the time to really serve that audience. Like, I just, you know, Sega, it drives me insane because Sega's sitting on a gold mine. Why is there, you know, maybe you don't want to do a Nintendo Virtual Console, but why is there no Dreamcast? You know, why isn't Sega saying, hey guys, everybody loves the Dreamcast. Nobody bought it, but everybody loves it. It has a, you know, it has a place in history as being the best console that nobody bought. And it is. There are some fantastic games on there. And there's no other way to play them. You know, other than some games on PC you can get on Steam, like some Sonic stuff. But there's no other way to play a lot of these. Like, you could... People are like, oh, we're so worried about what's going to happen to Switch when, oh, the new console comes out, when Xbox drops their refrigerator and Sony drops their weird vacuum cleaner console. What's going to happen to Switch? It's going to be dead. This is the kind of stuff that will keep Switch relevant. And not that this is all you're going to need, but this is the kind of stuff that would help keep Switch relevant. Oh yeah, you know, you get your Dreamcast on Switch right now, man. Like, all those games are fantastic. Like, if people, you know, in their mind remember the Dreamcast being like really beautiful visually, and it is a gorgeous. The games on it were gorgeous, especially at the time. They were so clean, and you know, this was post like PS1 and N64 with the blurriness and the kind of wobbly. What do they call that? Dithering, not dithering, but warp texture stuff going on the PS1. Like, this is right after that, and Saturn as well. This is right after that, and things were so clean, and the animation were beautiful. I remember just staring at the demo for Soul Calibur, like it would you know, if you just let the game play, it would go through the intro, you know, show all the characters, but then it would show you this like 2-minute demo of the character just kind of in the arena using their weapon and stuff, and it was just quiet, and you could hear like the birds and the water and whatnot, and like Khalik would come in and he'd do all these moves with his staff and all this stuff. It was just, that blew me away when I first saw it. And here's the thing, Dreamcast looked even better if you had a better setup. If you had the RGB, what is it called, VGA out into a computer monitor, those games look beautiful today. I do that, so I play it that way occasionally when I'm not capturing, and they look great. And so that's the kind of stuff, that's the kind of output you can get. So Dreamcast games that people remember will look as good as they remember, even though they didn't look that good, you know, because people remember things differently. Like Wind Waker, like I remember, I was like, isn't this how Wind Waker looked on GameCube when it came out with HD? No, it's not how it looked on GameCube, but that's how you remember it looking on GameCube because your mind sees today anyway in HD. So these games will hold up, uh, or look better to some people who remember how they actually look. And it's just a no-brainer. And yeah, I want Saturn stuff too, but only because to collect Saturn games or to find the Saturn games you want is very expensive. I have one Golden Goose out there for Saturn that I want to get, that I rented back in the day. I wish I would have just freaking bought it. Called, I think you might have heard of it, Panzer Dragoon Saga. That game goes from, if you buy the PAL version, it goes from 500 up into the the US version, which is like 800, 900 almost, and that's insane. I just want to play. I mean, yeah, it's great because it's a rare game. You want to own it or whatever. But I don't want to own it that bad. Like I just want to be able to play it in English because I have the Japanese version because it was way cheaper, and I can look up. I can look up the translation and stuff like that, so I can follow along with the story. And they also have patches out there. If you patch your action replay, and it's a process. You can patch it with the English version, so you could do that. But that's how you keep Switch relevant beyond the new big boy toys coming. Doing stuff like that, given better games on Switch's online service, then N64 and GameCube need to be there. Like they just need to at this point. The Switch, works with the GameCube controller. I use it a lot. I use it because Grid Autosport allows you to use the analog triggers. Obviously, the Pro controller doesn't have analog triggers; it's only digital. And I can have that, that Pro driving sim experience on the Switch now because I can use my GameCube controller to do that. So if my GameCube controller works, no problem. And it works not just for that, but it works for other games. Sometimes you don't have enough buttons, but it still controls and all that. Then why don't we have GameCube games on the, like everybody else is doing it? Sony's been doing it for a while. They put their big games on the store, or they've had streaming. You can stream or you can download even the games if you're on the PlayStation Now. I always forget the name of that. I don't know why. But they've had it a while. Like Nintendo should be way on top of this. If you don't want to do Virtual Console, great. But that doesn't mean you should cut those games off to your customers. Get a way to have that. And if you're going to make me pay for online and kind of be lacking in a lot of these features, then make up for it with games. And Super Nintendo is great and all, but at post, obviously you only get 20 games with it. Post SNES and NES Mini, it's just not as, or even post Virtual Console from the Wii and Wii U, it's not as exciting. We know you got better and bigger games out there. Maybe I wouldn't be wanting Wave Race, a new one, if you had Wave Race on Switch at this point. Wave Race Blue Storm and N64. Or maybe I wouldn't care for F-Zero GX if you offered that with online play, 32 players. Like, why isn't that a thing? Nintendo, you're too smart to not get these things right. Like, I'd be playing that right now if I could play F-Zero GX or even X online multiplayer. I'd be playing it right now. And it's annoying because they're putting multiplayer in games that weren't made for multiplayer, and Mario's and whatnot on NES, and even what's the football game? I can't think of the name of it. Tecmo Bowl, stuff like that. They're putting online in games like that when they have games that were built for multiplayer on their later systems like the N64 and GameCube. They were built for multiplayer, especially online multiplayer. If you could implement that into those games, that's exciting to me. If I can play F-Zero X online with friends, or GX online with friends, or Dogfight, even in Star Fox 64. It's not the greatest multiplayer, but it would give reason for me to go back and play that game again and put value into those old games. You know, that's why Tetris 99 excited me, because it's like they took Tetris, gave it to you for free, and made this like battle royale style game. That was exciting. That made me think, if they're doing this, of course this other stuff's going to be done, and that's what I'd like to see. And we haven't had that yet, unfortunately. And with people being worried about what's coming, how are you going to be relevant after Xbox Series Xbox Series X, and PS5 drop? This is stuff you can say, hey, this is what we're doing. We're going to be doing some cool stuff. We're going to be doing stuff that people want. People want to be able to play these legacy titles on their Switch on the go. I don't care about it as much, but I would advocate for it in a heartbeat. And for me, I would care, like I said, if you implemented online multiplayer with it. Like that, I would shut right up and be like, yeah, I'll get that. I'll download that for sure. And I'll shut up about how I feel about your online service. For the most part, I still think we need to be able to message each other, and game invite should be universal. But outside of that, I don't care as much. I don't care as much about voice chat, because there's so many ways to do that. But I should be able to at least set up matches, even if I'm not talking to them. I should be able to at least set matches up to play with my friends online. So, but yeah, these are the things that you can do to capitalize on making those games. And here's the thing: like, I remember I saw a video not too long ago. Actually, it's probably maybe it was even yesterday, maybe the day before. The completionist, he recompleted Super Mario 64 DS. And I'm like, oh yeah, that game is on Wii U. Like, you don't have to go back to the DS. You don't have to use even your 3DS to play it. If you want to play it in the comfort of your couch on the big screen, you can play that game. And it's like, I wouldn't say it's a remastered version of Mario 64, because it looks like a PS2 version, almost a PS2 version of a N64 game, textures wise, but character models and stuff are actually better. They're more modernized, the character models in 64 DS over N64 Super Mario 64, and they also obviously added all these characters and they added more worlds and stuff to the game. And I'm like, why isn't that something that is available right now for me to go download on my Switch? If I want to play that, I have to go back to my Wii U. For me, it's fine, because my setup, my Wii U is sitting right over here. All I gotta do is turn it on. You guys, if you've seen my video about how I have all these systems hooked up at once, I basically switched to HDMI over here. That's labeled. Boom. Actually, Wii U is one of the ones that actually stay in. So I don't have to switch it. I have to press the button to switch to the output that it's in, or the input that it's in, and I can still play it. But what if you're like playing your Switch and you have to like shut that down? Not shut it down, but like even for me, if I could just play that on my Switch, I wouldn't turn my Wii U on. Not that I don't want to, because there's stuff on Wii U that you can't, like with gamepad stuff that's actually really good on Wii U that you can't mimic on Switch. But for something like that, it'd be nice to be able to just pop right into that. If I want to go handheld, I could still do that, and still feels like I'm on the 3DS or DS. Or if I want to put it up on my TV, I'll kick back in my nice little recliner over here and enjoy that game. I'd be able to do that. So that would be fantastic. What's funny is that when I started this and I realized I didn't have a script, not a script, but like an outline for what I wanted to talk about, I was worried about not being able, but I know I need to stop worrying about that because I can talk and yap yap yap, and then obviously reading you guys' comments, which have slowed down recently. Um, that also helps for me to have things to talk about. But Maurice did actually, let me back up a little bit here. OJ Fears fans would say Atlas or Weirdos. Oh, because of Trauma Center. Okay, I got you now. Antonio Barbosa, I would like to see PC Engine, aka TurboGrafx 16 games on version. Yeah, like the Wii. Did the Wii U? I can't remember if the Wii U had it. I'm sure they did, right? Yeah, they definitely had TurboGrafx. Like TurboGrafx 16. Like that was a console that did really well in like Europe, I believe, right? It did really well over there. Um, it was PC Engine over there. They brought it over here, and it was TurboGrafx 16, and it didn't do as well, but it was still kind of, it was respected, and yeah, like people know about it, and there's games on it that people like to play. That's the kind of stuff. That is exactly the kind of stuff. Thank you, Antonio. That is exactly the type of stuff that you want to see on Switch at this point. Make that thing make it the game. I mean, it's almost there, but make it like the really core gamer, grew up gaming console. I grew up with gaming, since when I was little. Bring that stuff over and make it that, make it that console. Cause I can see why they don't want to do virtual console. A lot of companies today are doing either remasters, remakes of their old games, trilogy or whatever, but they're also doing compilations. Like you see a lot of compilation, a lot more, and that was always the thing that mostly Atari and Coleco, whoever would put out on every system. But companies, bigger companies are starting to put, collections onto a cartridge or a disc and resell it. And so you don't want to compete with them with the way they want to put out their legacy content. So I get that mostly, but there's stuff like that we'll never see again. Especially on Saturn. Like there's a lot of stuff on Saturn that we just won't ever see again. Like I'm glad Panzer Dragoon is coming. I'm still not sure if I like the remastered look of it. But they offer the original in there. I wouldn't care as much. I would be alright. That's cool. That's what I want. Give me put the original in there too, the way it was originally, and so I feel a whole lot better about buying the new one, even if I didn't care as much, even if I didn't like as much how it looks. And I hope they do something like that for Streets of Rage 4. I was just playing. I had to find it. I saw somebody's video again, another YouTuber's video, and he talked about, oh yeah, the fan-made version of Streets of Rage remaster, they call it. So it's basically all three games squished in one with all the characters and almost all the different levels and characters and enemy types and all that into one game with it added story emphasis and all that stuff. And I said, this is fantastic. So I went and played it, and I'm like, this is fantastic. And that would be great when not that specific version, but if Streets of Rage 4 offered Streets of Rage 1 through 3, like even if you have to unlock it or something. But that's the kind of stuff that adds value, and it wouldn't add work. It wouldn't add too much work to you doing that, because we know that Switch can not just Switch, but all the consoles can emulate all these old consoles no problems and allow you to play these old games. So that's the kind of stuff that adds value to those types of games and would add value to the Switch. So didn't TurboGrafx 16 switch? Like it literally switched. Yeah, that's true. Because didn't it have like the carts, and then you could take them and put them into I forgot what's the handheld part called. I mean that's way ahead of its time, and maybe it was just too ahead of its time. So, are the arcade one-up games unable to be released on newer console eShops? Difficult for some hardware groups to require Games publishing, i.e. Turtles in Time. Yeah, I think especially with something like Turtles in Time, where Nickelodeon owns the IP now. Um, that would be something that Nickelodeon would have to work out. And again, I don't think. I mean, Nickelodeon. Then I think whoever made the game, not made the game, but maybe published the game back then, they have to come to this kind of agreement. Uh, um, that would be. Uh, you think not too hard to do. You just have to have the initiative to do so. You have to, somebody has to be in every one of these companies, every one of these movie studios or television studios. Because video games is so big, it's bigger than movies and TV, and it's been that way for a while. Every one of these guys needs to have a video game person, like somebody to be in their ear and say, "Hey, with their ear to who has their ear to the ground for fans." Somebody to be like, "Hey, fans really want this. Video game fans really want this. You guys should push to make this happen." Because how did I mean, maybe Disney was thinking about it because they recently re-released Aladdin, or not re-released them, but remastered, basically remade Aladdin and Lion King. Maybe they were thinking about it because of that. So they made uh, the retro versions collection for the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis games. They made that happen because they had to. Disney had to call the shots on that. And I don't know if the companies involved in development and publishing back then had any say about that. Probably not, as far as Disney goes, anyway. That they can just put that out. But yeah, like, because I have an emulator, a MAME. Is that what it's called? MAME emulator that plays arcade games on my original Xbox. I have that. I have it modded to where I could play OG, Japanese shoot 'em up shmups, and just all kinds of just old arcade games that you could only go to the arcade and play. And that, you know, Xbox Live had Xbox Live Arcade, which was mostly that in name only as far as arcade. If it really had all these arcade classics on it, like, people would be talking about that right now. Like, arcade should have never left the Xbox in any way, shape, or form, because this is the only way you can play these games today. This is the only way you can play, a lot of these arcade games outside of finding one and paying, $800 to ship it and finding the room in your house to play it. And it's just one game. Outside of doing that, we have no way to play this stuff. And it's a very unique market, that may be niche in the scheme of things, but there's a lot of people that would love to touch that stuff. There's a lot of arcade games out there people don't know about and will never know about, without having something like that kind of a service to be able to play like that. Like, there was, because I got my, like I said, I got my modded, my OG Xbox. I got the hard drive, modded and all that, and it's running the emulator. And there's a bunch of stuff on that I never heard of, and it is so fun to play, so fast, and just, very 90s, just cool stuff that I never heard of that I get to play. And it'd be great to have a, quote unquote legal option to do so. So, and I think these companies are just missing out. They're missing out on what they can have, what they could have, if they had a video game guy. If some of these, like, TV studios who, look and see what IPs they own and say, maybe we won't make a new show on this, but maybe we just make a video game, because you don't get Stranger Things, the game, without the show. And so, that's another game I want to get physically that I should have got I just didn't jump on it because I didn't know a whole lot about the game itself. But Yeah. Let's see. Maurice, still there is a Star Wars drought on Nintendo platforms, which confuses me. Right. I mean, I talked about this before too. Like Star Wars, like, and in this seventh gen or sixth gen. Sixth gen is GameCube, right? Seventh gen is Wii, PS4 or PS3, and Xbox 360. Eighth, yeah. So you know, I tend to watch these types of videos. Again, I was watching a video where people were talking about, and I made a video a long time ago about Star Wars games, and how many we used to get and all the varieties we used to get. Star Wars RTSs and first-person shooters and RPGs and space shooters, rail shooters in space, and just all these different types of Star Wars games that we used to get that would cater to every type of player. To now, in the last 5 years of EA owning the license, they put out two Battlefront games that were lackluster, and Jedi Fallen Order, which I hear is really good. But you have like the Rogue Squadron games. You have one of the few prequel-based games that was good. Bounty Hunter. You have Bounty Hunter, which I love that game. You have the original Battlefront games, obviously, but you also have stuff like Starfighter and Rotor, obviously. Rotor. I'm thinking of that terrible '80s movie, Rotor. KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic. You have that. I mean, you have they just put out what's the Jedi game, Outcast on. But it's it's in the eShop, and then it's not too much fanfare. And yeah, we get Lego Star Wars. That's the only thing they even care to push is the Lego Star Wars games, because that formula and engine is so good, easy to do. People, I don't know how much Lego games sell these days, but there was a time where they were selling crazy. So, but yeah, you can serve an audience that's not getting served right now with Star Wars whatsoever on Switch. Episode 1 Racer, thank you, Laker Link. Racing games. Episode 1 Racer is fantastic. I bought it on N64 and on Dreamcast. Dreamcast is clearly the definitive version, but it's good on either one. Don't touch it on PlayStation, though. Don't get the PS1 version. Get the Dreamcast version. But again, like, stuff like that we used to get all the time. Not even just, I forgot about like simulator. We had space simulator games based on Star Wars. I mean, it got really deep, and that had a lot to do with the fact that they had LucasArts, which isn't around anymore, and Disney needs to go back to. They can afford LucasArts. They need to go back to, if they care enough. Not even just LucasArts. How about Disney Arts? So that way you can put out your own Marvel games in-house. You know what's coming. You can talk, you can keep your secrets. You can talk to your game studio can talk to right to the source. So you can have good Marvel game. We don't have any, like, we don't have a lot. We don't. I mean, we obviously we have stuff like Ultimate Alliance, but not everybody likes Ultimate Alliance. You gotta kind of like that kind of top-down kind of setup. But if you had, games that were more quote-unquote universal for everyone to play, that were based in Marvel and based in obviously Star Wars, then that would be fantastic. Like, I don't know, you got the money. You clearly have the money to, put together, a retro studio-sized group of guys, maybe a little bigger, to put out games for Star Wars, to put out games for Marvel and whatever other property, Fox-based properties you own. Like, you guys have so much, and you do so little. You just, you don't need to pass it off to EA. EA is garbage anyway. So, Shadows of the Empire. I just watched a really good I don't know if it was new. It might have been old. No, maybe it was new. Laker Link. I just watched a really good video from DF Retro, Digital Foundry. They did one on Shadows of the Empire recently, and that was great. Um, I forgot how cool that was back then. Not really, but I just meant like what it was doing for Star Wars at the time. Um, but what that game meant to the N64, and how blown away people were by that Battle of Hoth sequence, which was amazing at the time. I mean, that's what sold me on the game. I mean, it was a Star Wars game, so I was already paying attention. But when I walked into Software, etc., and they had the the demo set up on the TV screen, and I saw that Battle of Hoth sequence. Are you kidding me? At that time, that was amazing. Like, how can a video game look that realistic? Because I had just come up like Super Star Wars, which was a side-scrolling shooter game. It was cool. It was a great little series, good little series, very very difficult little series, but to see, this I forgot what they called the ships and I want to call them speeders, flying around the AT-ATs, walkers, and throwing that hook, the cable. What was the cable called? And just wrapping around, going around, and seeing it tie up the AT-AT and it fall over. That was incredible at the time. Incredible. So, what's up? Let's switch games. King of the Midway. What are you saying? What's your most underrated game on the N64? Mine is Sin and Punishment. I mean, to me, it's almost not fair. I would agree with Sin and Punishment, but Sin and Punishment technically never released in the West. It wasn't until the Virtual Console on Wii that we technically got Sin and Punishment. So yeah, that's it. You know what mine is? Mine is Hybrid Heaven. That's mine. I don't know if you remember that game or not, but it's a turn-based sci-fi game by Konami, and I believe it started off as a Metal Gear property. If my memory served me right, I somewhere in the recesses of my brain, I remember reading in one of the game magazines that it was I'm missing something here. That it started off to be a Metal Gear game, and it ended up being something completely different, which I really like. But yeah, that game, Hybrid Heaven. I mean, I just love the title, and the story is great. Laker Link says Winback. Winback is my friend. My friend Rico, man, he loved Winback, and I would listen to him talk about it. And I didn't get into it until much later, probably until after the GameCube came out, and it ended up on PS2, I think. But yeah, Winback, I could see that. Because Winback is it's the game that started cover shooting. It started stuff like the games that I love, like Uncharted and Gears of War. So it was, it had issues. It wasn't perfect, but it was a pioneer where it started games of that ilk. So yeah, Winback, I could see that. But yeah, Hybrid Heaven is probably mine. I mean, I guess I would throw Mischief Makers in there because a lot of people don't know about Mischief Makers. And I love that game. Another Treasure game. Yep, Treasure did Mischief Makers and Sin and Punishment. And I don't know, something about Treasure, man. They make these gems that people just don't buy. At least they did. They made these games that people just don't buy. If you go to collect them, they're an arm and a leg because there's not enough copies out there. But just for me overall, I just love it. I would probably put Mischief Makers above Hybrid Heaven, and Body Harvest is in there somewhere too. Those are super underrated N64 games. Maybe I'll do a video on that. That would be interesting. Just talk about the best forgotten N64 games. Yeah, that would be cool because you guys know I love my N64. Oh, I didn't even realize, but yeah, I am wearing a N64 shirt today. So yeah, it's clearly my favorite console of all times. So that'd be great. And Winback had PvP, did it? Actually, I don't even remember that. Do I own? I have to own it. I'm sure I own Winback. I know I own it on N64. I have like 150 N64 games. Winback's got to be one of them. I actually haven't played my N64 in quite some time. Um, but yeah, yeah. That would be a really good video, I think. I'm gonna put that together. That would be great. So we're approaching 2 hours. I really don't have a whole. I mean, like I said, I came in here dry, and here I am, 2 hours in almost, and I've been talking pretty much the whole time. So I like to talk. I like to talk. Not always the case. I used to be really shy, but oh yeah, I remember that now. Once, yeah, I remember playing that with Rico. We would play that. We didn't have 4 people. It was probably 3 at the most that we would play that with. But good morning and evening to all. uh, Working hard. Yeah, I don't really have. Oh, it's my concurrent viewers jumped. I'd like to keep it going. I don't know what else to talk about. I mean, I guess we can continue talking about game awards. We can end it with that and how irrelevant and phony it is. And it just because I heard that it had its most viewers yet since it's become basically a streaming event. It's had its most views, live viewers and whatnot since its inception. And that I wish that wasn't the case because it doesn't deserve it. And that's just reinforcing. That's just reinforcing. Oh, we got a new subscriber, new member. Oh, let's switch games. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Self-discipline. Did you watch the crossover match between Riley Reid and Abella Danger? UFC. I don't watch UFC. I haven't been able to get into it. So I don't really watch it. I've tried. It's not like I haven't tried, but maybe I'm just an old school boxing head, and that's my thing. Oh, you're like a member. I haven't had one. I almost forgot that I had that option open. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Let's Switch. I think you're the first, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But yeah, thanks for joining, man. And that's the kind of stuff that helps motivation as well, because it's like if people are willing to do that, willing to join, willing to contribute that way, I feel even more obligated, regardless of what YouTube is doing, to put out more and more content. It's a conscious thing, for me to do that. Even just for you guys who just rock out with me, who watch my channel just regularly. So yeah, thank you, Let's Switch. Thanks, I really appreciate that. Can I donate £500 if that helps? You don't have any accounts that open. Oh, I don't really know much about all that stuff, so I'm sure you can. If you just donate it to the. I mean, you don't have to do that. I appreciate the gesture, but I think you can, because I don't know. I don't get into all that, so I don't know how it really works. I just kind of turn buttons on, because people ask me to. I want to be able to contribute, so can you do this? I don't really look into it, so. But I do have Patreon. I mean, and you can put whatever you want on that. My Patreon, I think, is linked in the description. I think. I'm pretty sure it is. See, that's how bad I am with this stuff. I don't know. Yeah, it's in the description, says Maurice. Okay. Yeah, if you want to, that would be great if you want to do it that way. But yeah. What was I talking about? Game Awards. Trash, trash, trash. And I think it's really disrespectful. I talked about this on Juices Loose as well. Shout out to the Juices Loose podcast. If you guys aren't subscribed, go to Terminator Juices channel and subscribe. We do a podcast every Monday. You know, between 6:45 and 7 p.m. Usually before 7. We go a couple hours. But I talked about this there, and I was like, it's really disrespectful to the people who you just kind of throw the award out there in a diatribe, where you're just kind of throwing random. Oh, this person won this, but you don't get the audience time to react to it. You certainly don't give the awarded time to react to it, because they're not there to accept the award, because it's not an award you're handing out. You're just saying they won this and this person won that, and it's just real disrespectful. Super chat is available. It's mine. If you want to do it that way, that's fine. I just don't know. I need to look more into this stuff. I'm just not good at that. But YouTube takes 30%. See, I didn't even know that. I've heard YouTubers talk about it, how they would rather you donate to the super chat, but I don't know why. I didn't know why. Let's see. I'm glad that Fire Emblem got some recognition. If it was in the wrong category, even if, I guess you're saying, even if it wasn't the okay, and wasn't in a bunch of others, it should have been. Yeah, it should have been in. And again, I haven't played the game myself, but I'm a person that can look at what people are saying, credible sources in the industry itself, and say the industry wants this game, or feels like this game should be in best soundtrack and be in best RPG, not strategy, because yeah, it has strategy elements, but it is more of a traditional RPG than a strategy RPG, and it should be in these other categories. But if it was, that would mess up the chances for the other shams you're trying to pull off, and that's why they don't do it. Esports, that was just, esports is popular, let's throw them a bone, and let's throw Nintendo. This is the Nintendo award, the family game. You know, that way Nintendo can always win something, and hopefully they show up with something to give us some exclusive content for our show. And it's so transparent that that's what's going on. And you know, I've known this for a while. I mean, I just decided to stop watching it recently, and I'm not on a high horse and saying you shouldn't, because I mean, we like reveals. We're gamers. We like reveals. I just decided I'm not going to sit through 3 hours to get reveals that I could get after the show. You know, that's going to be online within. It's going to be online within minutes of it being shown in the show. So why not just go watch that? You know, and that's what I did. I was working on stuff, and when stuff like that would pop up, or the Juices Loose guys would say something, oh, they're talking about this, I would go look for it, and then boom, I could watch it, get out of there, go back to what I was doing. And I told them, I'm like, I got a lot done not watching that show, and it felt great. It really felt great. So I won't partake until they respect the industry they're in. I can't. You know, reveals are great, like I said, but I can get those outside of the show. I don't have to be sitting there moaning and groaning through stuff I don't care about to get to that. I can wait until after the show. I'm not a crackhead. I can wait for that. Until they start respecting these people who put their heart and souls into these games, and, you know, leave their families for ungodly hours every year for months, sometimes years at a time. These fantastic artists, these fantastic designers who put sometimes just as much, if not more, into their craft than the movie studios do. And the movie studios respect their craft, they respect their industry, they respect their workers, their artists. Um, I get that unlike the Oscars or even the Golden Globes, Jeff Keighley isn't backed that kind of way. But the industry should back him that way. So maybe it's not on him as much as it is on the industry itself. The industry should have a better setup, better setup for this. Like they should care enough to want to put on a show that really uh, um, respects their artists. And so Jeff Keighley won't have to have Hydrobot running around or have 20 Magic the Gathering commercials or any of that stuff. Or maybe he could still do that, but we will still get the pomp and circumstance that you get from an award show. So you don't have to lose anything, and that's what I hope for. And it doesn't help that, your best boy, his game that you've been hyping up, you've been pumping him up for years, that his game releases and it gets all these nominations, the most in the show, and it doesn't help that he's on the board. Like, you can say all you want to say about how there's no wrongdoing, blah blah blah, but it's just how it looks. It's a bad look. It doesn't look good. It looks like cronyism. It looks like you're doing favors, even if you weren't. I can't say that you aren't, but it looks bad. It's a bad look, and so I just wish the industry would put him into situations where he doesn't have to worry about that. I mean, that would be great. Looks like my camera's acting a damn fool though, and I don't know. There's something about the Logitech driver on that the day that's out. That's I don't know. There's something wrong with it. I'm afraid to update because then last time I updated it, my camera wouldn't work at all, and that's not good. So I'd rather be working wonky than not at all, and it's definitely looking sick right now. Same story, different decade. They try to hold nerds like me from my ankles and take my money, and when the games stink, they sell advertisements and throw me off the trail of good stuff, i.e., video games. Yeah. Remember all the awards that I think there were E3 awards or IGN E3 awards, or not just E3. It wasn't just IGN I meant. But remember all the awards that what is that game? That was just atrocious. It was a disgusting game. It's the game where you I think it was always online, and you would chase a monster around a map. I can never remember the name of this game because I want it to be stricken from my memory, and so it's working. But I remember they were charging like $25 for a monster and obscene things like that for DLC. But this game had like at least 100 E3 awards or something ridiculous. And it's like, how do you miss what this game is to the point you're giving it 100 awards at E3? What is going on? For that to happen. What is the name of this game? I can't remember the name of it. Came out 3 or 4 years ago. Whatever it was. It's like, it's one word. I feel like it's like one word. Yes! Let's switch games. Thank you. Evolved. Or Evolve. Without the ED. Or without the D. Evolve. This game won so many damn awards at E3 the year before it came out. And, like, what happened? Hold on a second. I just lost my visual feed here. All right, got it back. Um, how did that game win all those awards and nobody noticed the issues that that game had? And people were coming out. I mean, obviously they pay people to say certain things for little sound bites and whatnot. Um, but there were online uh, websites and whatnot. They were praising this game out the wazoo. IGN being one of them, like I said. And then the game comes out and it's that bad, and nobody knew going in. Nobody knew ahead of time that this game was going to be that bad. Like, how does that happen? How does that happen without some shilling going on? Like, how am I supposed to trust this industry? You know? And it's not like any other industry is infallible. It's not like the movie industry is infallible, because we know, we know that same kind of stuff goes on with movies. Um, Maybe not TV shows as much. It was not the best game. Clearly, it wasn't the best game. But it won Best of E3, all these Best of E3 awards, and I'm like, oh, so that's why I was paying attention to it. So that stuff works because it got me to pay attention. It's like, what is this game about that everybody's raving about so much? So that, yeah, I just remember the atrocious DLC prices for the monsters being $25 for a monster, and the game released with almost nothing. So you had to buy if you wanted, some kind of game, and those prices were atrocious. And obviously, it was trouble matchmaking. It had all kinds of issues, just like Let's Switch alludes to. But how did that stuff get missed? I understand you're in a closed environment when you're watching it, as far as like the people at E3, the attendees and whatnot. But don't you ask questions? You couldn't have asked, how is the game going to ship? What is it coming with? You know, how many hours of gameplay you think we can? Well, it's different for an online game. What is your plan going forward? Some follow-up questions, stuff that journalists are supposed to ask. And that's why again, journalism in gaming is a joke, and so is the awards, because they don't take themselves seriously. Everybody's out to get what they can get. Everybody's trying to get what they can get, and it's just not cool. Instead of actually being people of integrity, and wanting to get the real story out of it. Now, there are people out there that do that. Off the top of my head, I think of Jason Schreier. I don't know if he's a freelance dude or he works. I think he's freelance. I could be wrong, but he's one of those guys that will, the story, to get the facts and the truth. That's way more important than access. A lot of people just want access. It happens in movies. Oh, I want access. I want to be able to go to the premieres. I want to be able to hobnob. I want free tickets to this and that. And their opinion becomes tainted. Just like the Game Awards. Their opinion of who wins the best game is tainted because your best friend who put you in the game, who put your likeness in the game, he's got all these, nominations. And it'd be one thing if the game was universally loved. But if it's so mixed, the reviews on the game, and nothing about the core dislike of the game is mixed. Everybody thinks the core gameplay mechanic is tedious. That's universal. So when you have a situation where a game is like that, and yet it still ends up with all these nominations, and again, your best buddy who you spoon with at night gets all these nominations for his game. He wins Best Director, which was pretty obvious. The Juices Lose podcast unanimously said he was going to win that award if he won anything for Death Stranding, and he certainly was going to win Best Director. Kojima was. So, there's no integrity there. And that's just unfortunate. So, yeah, I'm going to break out of here soon, but I wanted to let you guys know, if you follow me on Twitter, you should do so. If you don't, I always, I'm getting way better at Twitter than I used to be. Twitter just used to mean to me, like, hey, I got a new video out. Here, go watch it. Go watch my new video. But now I understand the value of just everyday stuff. I keep it gaming mostly because that's what my channel's about. So, how did Smash not win Best Music? Exactly. I mean, I could go all night talking about this stuff, but I don't want to have an ulcer. I already have pain in my lower jaw here. Yeah, so like I was saying on Twitter, follow me there if you want to keep up to date. If you're like wondering where's this video, I haven't really done that enough, but I'm going to start doing that more. If a few days go by and I don't have a video up, I'll let you know why and what's going on and what I'm working on. But I do show you what I'm playing, what I'm buying. I recently spent like 5 hours playing DC Universe Online, and I created Captain Planet, or I recreated Captain Planet as my my character in the game. And somebody had already taken it. I wasn't surprised, so I tried different variations on the name, and I just spelled it Cap 10, like the number, not the number itself 10, but the way you spell the number 10. So it's Cap 10. It wasn't a typo. The actual spelling of Captain Planet was already taken. I'm not surprised. I would like to see what his character came out looking like, because I spent a long time. I spent a good hour trying to get my Captain Planet figure to look as good as it could look. I would be surprised if another person came up with a closer rendition of Captain Planet for DC Universe Online. I would be amazed. I wanted a mullet. I could not find him. I wanted a green mullet, but I could not find it. J Biggs, I was singing the Captain Planet theme at work today. Nice. Still know it. 80s and 90s commercials were great at memorable theme songs. Very smart marketing. I still know I know all of them. Turtles, DuckTales, Tailspin, Gummy Bears, all the Disney stuff. Did I say Turtles? Yeah, I said Turtles. Thundercats and stuff like that is different. It's not. Well, yeah, Thundercats is not overly intricate, but Mr. T, the Mr. T cartoon is just them saying Mr. T over and over again. Mr. T. Dun, 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 Mr. T. Yeah, so yeah, Captain Planet. I think my Captain Planet looks really good. If you can find somebody with a better Captain Planet that they created in DC Universe Online, point me to that person. Because the only thing I'm not satisfied with is not having a green mullet. I want the green mullet. I was sure I would find mullet as one of the hairstyles, and I did not. Found mohawk, but I couldn't find mullet, and that bothers me because Captain Planet has a flat top mullet situation, and it's fantastic. It really is. Yeah, so I've been playing that. I got caught up in that game for a further 4 hours after I created my character. And that's just not what I need to be doing because I have so much stuff I need to finish. I have Luigi's Mansion I got to finish. I have Astro Chain I got to finish, and they're close. I have, I want to do way more in Mario Maker than I've done so far. I have newer indie games that I haven't really gotten into the way I'd like. I haven't gotten Fire Emblem yet, Three Houses. I haven't gotten Dragon Quest 11. And then, why buy these games now? Because I have no time. I have so much stuff to finish, which is great. So, in part, I'm glad that it's a little slower on Switch in the early parts of the year, but I would like there to be something more. One or two solid big games would be great for the first half instead of just backloading the second half. That would be great. You just bought Ghostbusters because of the sale. Nice. I have it on 360. I beat it there. And I'm still going to end up getting the Switch version because I really like Ghostbusters. It's basically Ghostbusters 3, the movie we never got, which is fantastic. I wish we actually got the movie, but I look at that game as Ghostbusters 3, the movie, so that's cool. been playing that, and I really shouldn't, but it's good. I mean, I knew because I played a little bit on PC a couple years ago, so I knew what I was getting myself into. I don't know. I just had it because I recently bought a new memory card for my Switch. I got the 400 gigabyte SanDisk, so I have more space. So I was like, oh, let me download some of this stuff. I want to get into like Paladins. I played Paladins. I had Paladins, actually ended up deleting it because I needed the space. So that was one of the reasons I wanted a new card, so I had more space. So Paladins, oh my god, what's the name? Warframe. I had to delete that, and I'm like, I really want to get back into those games. So I did that, and I got DC Universe Online because like, yeah, why not? Let's see what this, let's get into this game and really see. Because I spent maybe an hour on it on PC a couple years ago, and that was it. So I never really gave it a full chance. So, and I just, peace of mind. Now I have space. I don't have to worry about what I have to delete. I don't. I try not to. Obviously there's a lot of indie games that you have to download to play because that's the only way they're out there. And like I said, I will wait for a game that I feel like might get a physical copy at some point. I will wait for that. But outside of that, you have to download them. And MMORPG, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, you're gonna play it online anyway. It's the only way to play it, so you don't need a physical copy for that. Like Warframe, stuff like that, I don't mind. And it's free. It's free to play game. So, yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Do you have Twitch? Yeah, I do have a Twitch. I don't know if the link is in the description. Like I said, I gotta get better at this stuff. I've had a Twitch for like 2.5 years, probably at least 2 years. And I actually, I think I had a couple videos. It might be a couple videos on there. I might have streamed once. I think I streamed Batman Arkham City some time ago. Probably it might have even been like no, it was probably Batman Arkham Asylum on 360 because I don't think I streamed Arkham City Wii U. That's the one I had, so that's the one I played. I think it was 360, so it had to be Arkham Asylum, if I was to guess. But yeah, I've had it a while, and I just haven't done anything with it. Because I'm all about that YouTube. I had to pay attention to YouTube. I got no time for Twitch. I got YouTube. So, and then they started YouTube gaming. I was like, oh, they're getting serious about their gaming stuff. No, not really. Let's see, Inglorious Bastards. I tried to find you the other day and couldn't. Let me look this stuff up now because I can give you a let me give you a link in the chat here. All right, so let me go to Twitch and give you a proper link. I should already be logged in, and I am.
This area, like.
No, don't big up, don't big that up. Nope, go away, commercial. All right. What would I give you a link to? Let's see. Because this is gonna give you this page I'm on. How do I get to my? See, this is how much I use. This is how much I use Twitch. Let's go to my followers page and see what's up. Who's streaming right now? Everybody, obviously. It's Friday night. Twitch Prime loot. There's a lot of stuff in here that I just have not even. 2 years. Hold on. See, I have a notification from 2 years ago. Now, but I've looked at the one from 6 months ago. It's because it's white. When you haven't looked at it, if you haven't clicked on it, it's like light purple. So, but I have one from 6 months ago that is white, which means I looked at it. But this is crazy. Like, all right. So how do I? Okay, no. Yeah, okay. I'll just click this. This will get me to my channel. All right, now I got it. All right. Yeah, it's just twitch.tv. Well, Let me copy and paste it at backslash Mizzah_T. So let me put that down in the chat here. All right, there's my Twitch. And I need to put that in the description of all my videos. I thought I did, but I guess I don't. So yeah, there it is. So go ahead and link up with me there. Like I said, if you want to continue getting the comedy stuff, at least till YouTube figures out what the hell they're doing, I'll be uploading to that channel for that stuff. So yeah, my camera is wonking out. And that is not my PC. That's not my camera's fault. That is the driver. For whatever reason, Logitech cannot give me a competent driver for my Windows 10. I don't know. Started off great, then I made the mistake of updating it, and that's when it started doing this crazy splotchy garbage that it's doing right now. So keep that anticipation going for as long as possible. Got 45 to 55 mile an hour winds in southeast England right now. Really noisy outside. Wow. Yeah, it was. I mean, can't compare. Let's switch, but we had a pretty windy day around here too. Rainy. But that's crazy. Yikes. So, yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here. Let you guys get. I want to get to the Witcher TV show on Netflix. Like I said, I heard it was great, so I'm very excited to check it out. I'm gonna catch at least a couple episodes a night. I heard it was really good, and I'm happy about that because I was a little worried. I didn't think the trailers quite did it, but maybe the trailers just didn't want to give too much away. And so I'm excited to go check it out. And I'll likely be catching that Star Wars Rise of Skywalker tomorrow. And I'll be making a video on that on my Mizzah Tee ATM. And I have to put this on my template to have both of those channels